This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
You're welcome back to the conversation here on Now Breakfast. We head towards the world of civil society organizations, where a coalition in Nigeria has condemned the decision by the United Nations to phase out its HIV/AIDS program by 2028. The Joint United Nations Program on HIV and AIDS was established in 1996 and has been credited with reducing AIDS-related deaths globally by almost 70% since 2004. Joining the conversation is Salahuddin Noorani, the Program Director at Clean Foundation. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us on the conversation.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
Can you speak to us very quickly about the position that the coalition of CSOs in Nigeria have taken?
Yeah, I think it is very important to also help the thought process of colleagues to understand that AIDS are not permanent and AIDS are not in any way a tool for development in anywhere around the globe. AIDS are meant to be stopgap measures. AIDS are ad hoc, and AIDS obviously are not sustainable. The idea behind AIDS everywhere around the world is to provide intervention, and then of course government can therefore institutionalize and advance the process. And that is the idea behind AIDS. But making AIDS the entire backbone and the central vertebrae for development is actually not the right way to think about it. And of course, colleagues must also understand and realize that these interventions have lifespan and would obviously end at some point. And that is the entire concept around project and project management. You must have a start date and you must have an end date. And I think, again, it is very important not to be very emotional about it from colleagues so that they can realize that if you hold government to accountable, invest in those areas that the aids are supporting at the moment.
So, Mr. Noorani, as we understand it, Nigeria has the second highest HIV burden in the world, up to 2 million people living with the disease. And there's questions on whether or not you see federal government interventions being sufficient enough by the time 2028 comes to an end and the UN AIDS project comes to an end. Do you think that we're prepared to step in and fill the gap?
Yeah, I mean, what the aid process and support have done over the years has been manifest. One is that it has actually deepened corruption within government because, again, all of these monies are budgeted for on an annual basis. But because aid are there to support, those monies budgeted by government are actually going into private pockets. Two is that it has actually provided a setback to accountability. So people should follow the money and ask critical questions, do some kind of project analysis in the last 5 years where aid-related funding has actually gone through. And I know that even all the intervention around the state action plan, national action plan against HIV, have been provided for in the health budget beyond special intervention fund that the budget has also conceived. The question is, where do those monies go to eventually? So it tells one single thing, because those in the system and those in government know that there are other related interventions that come where citizens are not aware, because citizens are not aware whether it is government that is doing what or it is actually coming from an intervention. So what happens, therefore, is that you see those things happening, interventions and antiretroviral drugs are being given for free in different centers. Meanwhile, there are aid given by international development, but government has also, so there are double dipping that is happening as a result of aid. So I think for a moment, it is also good to have this kind of a lag time so that there can be some level of reflection around how money is related to all of these are also being spent. Whether or not we are ready is actually what we need to test the institutions to be able to respond to. But again, I think there is a need to do a complete audit of how these monies have been spent in the last 5 years. And finally, is the issue that borders around strategic communication, around how much and what has been spent on this particular subject over the years. Most of the time, you realize that there are already opacity around it. People don't talk about it. There are no communication around health-related budgeting. And this is because citizens don't spotlight health sector as much as it is. But with this kind of lag, perhaps additional spotlight can come, maybe the pressure from the media like this can also offer health sector a more robust intervention that requires the kind of spotlight and attention that needs. But I tell you, over the years, there has been massive corruption within the health sector that needs to be unpacked with this kind of opportunity that this last time has provided.
Mr. Nureni, thank you very much for your time on this conversation. Salahuddin Nureni is the program director at Clean Foundation, who joined us today to speak on the position taken by Coalition of Nigerian Civil Society Organizations regarding the United Nations proposal to phase out its HIV/AIDS outreach by 2028. You're still listening to Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos. We urge you to stay tuned to your Beyond the News station. In a few short moments, our conversations continue, this time touching on cybercrime and the use of law.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
You're listening to Now Breakfast.
The Nigeria Guild of Editors, NGE, has asked the federal government at all levels to stop using laws to suppress journalists. Eze Anaba, president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, speaks with Radio Now's Nabila Usman on the misuse of the Cybercrime Act. Mr. Anaba.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.